Hello, welcome back to Last Bell Folktale. This is another real-life story. The title of today's story is My Siblings and I All Have Failed Marriages. Is this Ogun Idile? This is the story of a woman who started life hawking on the streets. This is the woman who almost lost her life during pregnancy, endured abuse in marriage, and watched her dreams slowly slip away. But the most painful part of her story is this. She and all her siblings are facing the same struggle in their marriages. Now she's asking one question that keeps her awake at night. Is this just life? Or is this an ancestral battle her family has been fighting for generations? I started hustling very early in life just to support my mother. Every morning, I would go to the market to hawk things and sell. And after that, I would rush to school. When school finished, instead of resting like other children, I would go straight to the place where I was learning hairdressing. I spent 4 years learning the work because my parents didn't really guide us about education or future plans. My mother tried her best to raise us, but life was hard. My father was busy fighting family inheritance battles, what we call Ogun Idile. Because of that, he was never really present in our lives. After I finished secondary school, my biggest dream was to go to university and study mass communication. But there was no one to support me. My mother was already struggling to feed us. Sending us to higher school was impossible. Unfortunately, life did not get easier. My siblings and I all made the same mistake. We married the wrong men. In my first marriage, my husband was not rich, but I believed we could build something together. But things quickly became difficult. When I got pregnant twice, my husband forced me to abort both pregnancies. The second abortion almost killed me. I was rushed to the hospital, and the doctors even wrote brought in dead. But by God's grace, I survived. The day I was discharged from the hospital, my husband told me to go back to my parents' house. He said he didn't want to see me anymore. His mother even took my first child away from me. Until today, they have not returned that child. My mother begged his family to settle the matter. Later, I gave birth to a baby girl, but throughout the pregnancy, my husband was rarely around. The only support he gave me that year, 2019, was 5,000 naira. I tried everything to make that marriage work. I prayed, I fasted, I worked hard, but nothing changed. We were fighting almost every day, and sometimes he beat me. One day, after another violent fight, I finally left the marriage. My mother called his grandmother to try and settle things, but the reply broke my heart. She said, "My grandson has moved on. She should move on too." After 1 year, I met another man. He was single and kind. 2 years later, we got married. For the first time in my life, I felt truly loved. He accepted my children as his own, and I believe maybe, just maybe, my life was finally changing. When I became pregnant, my husband suddenly fell into serious debt. I also found myself in debt. Big bese. Things became so difficult that we could no longer afford house rent. So we had to move into his father's house. Today, we live in one small room with his younger brother. Sometimes I just sit and wonder, how did life become this hard? There were times in my first marriage when I had to beg just to eat and feed my baby after my ex abandoned us. I prayed, I fasted, I worked, I hustled every day, but life still feels like a constant struggle. Sometimes I look at my life and wonder why things turned out this way. My siblings and I share the same story. Broken marriages, struggles, hardship. When we were young, we all had dreams, but somehow life took a completely different path. Today, I am in my 30s, and sometimes I sit quietly and ask myself questions I cannot answer. Why does it feel like everything in my life has been a struggle? Why do my siblings and I share the same painful stories in our marriages? Sometimes I even wonder if it is more than just bad luck. Is it possible that my family is fighting something deeper, something spiritual, like the Ogun Idile my father used to talk about? I am not sharing my story for pity. I am sharing it because I don't know what else to do. I just want advice from people who may have gone through something similar. What should someone like me do when life keeps pushing me down, no matter how hard I try? That's all for today's story. Please share your advice and encouragement in the comments. She truly needs your support. Please follow, like, and comment. Bye. See you next time.
Gospel Folktale. Z.